Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the No Vacancy Podcast with me, your host, Glenn Hausman. I'm excited today because I got Mike McGeehan of G6, where he's the Chief Development Officer. How awesome is that? How much do you love your job, Mike?
First of all, thanks, Glenn, for having me. I love my job.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in the business for a lot of years. It's just exciting. It's a great time to be in the business because so many things are changing, which some people look at as challenges. I look at it as opportunities. So
right.
A lot of fun stuff going on with our brands, Motel 6 and Studio 6, and love to talk to you about that.
Yeah,
today.
and that's what we're here to do, talk all about your brands. And I think it's an interesting way to start this conversation where you're saying there are a lot of challenges out there because things keep changing, right? That's the only constant in life
is change.
Everything is going to be keep changing, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that we really need to rise up to the challenge, right, of changing. And you guys are doing a great job, I think, over there. And I love since Rob Pleshy has taken over as CEO, I think the company's got great focus now. Plus, he's such an awesome personality. And I feel like there's a lot of love going on over there.
Yeah, absolutely. Rob is doing some great things with our brands. Great guy. He's brought in a visionary perspective. He's brought in a lot of energy, a lot of good stuff. And to your point, change is good because it forces you to think differently.
Yeah.
We've got, from a development perspective, a lot of exciting things going on. It's a good time for our Motel 6 and Studio 6 right now. We've got a strong pipeline of 155 projects.
Wow.
Which is the strongest pipeline we've ever had. Those are all signed new agreements. What's even more exciting is 71 of those projects are for new construction, which we kind of stand alone in that area in the economy space. There's not a lot of new supply and not a lot of new construction. We're the leaders. We're excited about it. Along the same lines, we created a dual brand concept for our segment, which once again is limited. There's not a lot of competition for dual branding, which is a combination of Studio 6, Motel 6, one central lobby for operations. So you've got efficiencies of scale. There's been a lot of excitement around that. We've got 18 signed new construction agreements for dual brands. Wow. Right. So
let me stop you right there because I want to talk a little bit more about this dual brand stuff because I happen to love the dual brand strategy that a lot of companies are starting to take now. Now, I remember 10, 15 years ago, there'd be an odd duck kind of property, right? And for those of you listening, I've said this before on this podcast in different episodes where it used to be there'd be two different brands across the street from each other. Then they were in the same plot of land. Then they started to connect two disparate buildings with one thing. Now they've really, you guys out there have really created a very cohesive back of house. So you don't really have any, redundancies in there that are unnecessary. And it creates a great way for properties, I think, overall, to make more money because you're going for two distinct audiences, typically, and I'm pretty sure with you, for the transient and then that extended stay guest, correct?
Absolutely, right. You're attracting two different audiences, two different guest profiles. You've got, to your point, one centralized operation, so you're saving cost on staffing, on the operation of the building. We've designed our new prototype Gemini to be able to once again, have that centralized operation to take advantage of half the building on one side being a Motel 6, the other half being Studio. You do operate them as two different brands, so you need to train staff accordingly, but huge upside, a lot of excitement from developers on the concept because you're able to pull in a larger customer base to fill your rooms in one building.
And especially when it comes to extended stay, I'm finding that to be a real, it's gone from being the flavor du jour to what I think is really a cornerstone strategy that a lot of owners and operators out there should be taking because there's always that great extended stay business. You don't have to fill a room 28 times in a month. It might only be once, twice, or 3 times a month, which makes it easier and I think offload some of that pressure on the transient side of the hotel.
No, absolutely. You're taking advantage of the operational efficiencies, which at the end of the day improves your operating margins, which as an owner or developer, it's all about, what's your return on the investment going to be. And that concept allows you to maximize, well, first of all, minimize your operating expenses and maximize your margins and your return on the investment.
Right, absolutely.
And that's what excites developers with that concept.
So being that this is Project Gemini, when could we expect the first launch into space?
Well, actually, exciting. We've opened 2 new dual brand construction properties this year. One in Corpus Christi, one in at Austin Airport. They're not a full Gemini, but they've got elements of Gemini because they were being built while we were finalizing the design of Gemini. We've got about 12 projects that are in planning and getting ready to break ground or have broken ground. I mentioned earlier we have 71 new construction signed agreements. Those we expect to all be open within the next 2 to 3 years. 18 of those today are dual brand, but we've got a lot of discussion and activity around it. We expect the numbers to grow from 18 to who knows.
So I'm a little confused on Gemini. Is it just a dual brand, or is that also a model for the traditional economy hotel?
It's a model for the traditional economy hotel.
Okay.
We've got an upgraded renovation package for Motel 6, Studio 6, and then the prototypes. If somebody wants to build just a Motel 6, it's all referred to Gemini, but it's our new package. It's our new design. It's the new building, but then it also is a package that can go into a conversion opportunity as well.
That's good. Tell me a little bit about what this package is like. What can the guest expect? What can the owner expect from it? And how is it different from the previous iterations of what you've been doing successfully at Motel 6?
Good question. We listen to the guest. We want to make sure we're meeting the demands of the guest today and tomorrow. The room is very efficiently designed from an operations standpoint. As an owner, everything is, you've got your modern furniture package, wood floors, shades as opposed to drapes, a lot of new elements that you will see in upper select brands as well. But in an economical box, it meets the needs of what the guests are expecting today and will be expecting into the future. And from a build cost, which is critical in our segment, in the economy segment, to make sure we maintain the fact that you can build this property for a price that's well below what you would be paying to build a mid-scale or an upper scale ended brand. So we really want to be in the range of 60, 65, maybe 70,000 per key to build without land.
Without land, of course. That's almost like has to go on set at this point in the
absolutely,
industry, right?
Yeah, because that's the big question mark is what the cost of land is going to be.
Well, that's pretty interesting. So what does the customer want that's seeking out a G6 branded experience at any of your brands? Let's start with Motel 6.
Well, I think what they want is they want to be able to obviously be in a safe environment, feel like they're getting great service, but they don't need, in our segment, a lot of amenities.
Right.
So we stay away from the amenities. However, our lobby area is created that there's some social space because that is a desire and need, particularly from the millennials. The room itself needs to be functional. They don't need a huge room, but they want to make sure they have a good bed. The bathroom is, designed well, and it's an inviting product that they feel, as I said earlier, safe in, they feel good about, they feel like they're getting a good value. I think that's critical.
I think that is essential. And I'd also add that what you're doing with Gemini is really creating more of an upscale-y type of feel to what the customer is going to expect, which I think heightens that value equation that they're doing in their head before staying. Yeah. How are brands like Motel 6 and others that I've seen in the economy segment, frankly, able to create properties that I would think 10 years ago would have been more mid-scale as opposed to budget?
Well, there's a lot of opportunities. I mean, there's a lot of rebranding. I'll talk a little bit about conversion opportunities. There's a lot of rebranding going on within with the different brands, particularly in mid-scale, upper scale. That actually does create opportunity for us because there's many Gen 2, Gen 3 Fairfields or Holiday Inn Expresses or Hampton Inns even that we've been able to convert to Motel 6s doing the Gemini package, renovating the rooms to our standards. The package works. It's very adaptable and flexible to size of the rooms and converting the public areas, public space to that package and really creating a modern, fresh experience for guests, even though it could be a 20 or 25-year-old box that was once another brand.
Right. Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I don't really care what the age of the building is as long as I go in and I feel comfortable and safe and I feel as if that the hotel wants to have me there. Right?
Absolutely. And you want to pay a fair price. You want to feel like you got a value out of your stay.
One of the other observations I made about the economy segment is, I got to tell you, I thought like 10 years ago, I thought the segment was just not going to be around for too much longer. But I was really surprised, and pleasantly so, that companies like yours are creating all of these new build hotels rather than just being handed older product. How freaking awesome is that?
Oh, yeah. Well, the demand is going to be there for economy lodging. It's an area that you obviously have to stay relevant. You have to stay ahead of the game. You have to be competitive from an IT perspective, from obviously, like we talked about, a product perspective. But what's interesting in the economy space today is there hasn't been a lot of new supply. So from a developer perspective, it's an opportunity. It's really a space where there's opportunity to grow. It's not overbuilt like some of the other segments. And what we're finding is we're signing deals that with hoteliers that never really played in the economy space, but now want to diversify, and they see the advantage of having product in the different segments during. You got to prepare for economic downturn periods, and our brand tends to do very well during those periods.
Right, and during flush periods as
yeah,
well.
exactly.
I would say. So, why should I, if I'm interested in building a hotel, why should I build an economy hotel with guys like you, as opposed to some of those other bigger brands in the mid-scale?
Well, one thing I would say about that is the fact that we focus on just Motel 6 and Studio 6. Mm-hmm. We don't have 15, 20, 30 brands. We focus on what we do, and we want to be the best we can be at what we do, and we feel like we're the leaders in that segment. That's number one. Number two is we're owner-operators. We own a package of our own hotels. Yep. So we obviously focus on how do we make those as profitable as possible. We're never going to ask a franchisee to do something we wouldn't do at one of our own properties, whether it's vetting out new standards or rolling out new product. We're going to do that for ourselves anyway. And relationships. I mean, we've built I've been in the with Motel 6 for 19 years. Saw our franchise business grow from 75 hotels to well over 1,000 franchise locations today, and that happened through obviously the success of the business model, the success of the brand, but also relationships, and really forging ahead with continued relationships with who we have, but also trying to build new relationships.
Do you think the customer sees Motel 6 versus hotels in other categories that might get more dollars per night as really just being the same kind of thing? Because I argue with people about this all the time. I firmly believe that the customer doesn't care about our little world of segmentation here.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't. They want to make sure, we talked about it earlier.
Yep.
The guest that's going to be staying in a Motel 6 is all about finding the best price value, but that doesn't mean they necessarily have to pay the lowest price.
Right.
They want to have a good value. They want to have a good stay. They want to feel good about where they're staying. They want to have a quiet room, bed good, all of those basics. They don't need a lot of the extra amenities. We don't have a loyalty program. We're one of the few brands that doesn't have a loyalty program. We've never really needed to have a loyalty program.
I don't know why I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, we haven't, and we don't need one. And one of the things our franchisees love about us is that we don't have one. The brand drives the business, and they're not paying loyalty fees to the franchisor. And I mean, that's a big plus, and it once again adds to that bottom line when you don't have that.
That's fascinating. I can't believe you don't have a loyalty program. That really took me by surprise.
Yep.
But wow, that's pretty interesting. So one of the things that owners want to think about is the ongoing operational costs, and that's where a little bit of the tech conversation comes in. You had mentioned earlier you're thinking about technology. How do you envision technology creating more efficiencies at the property level, back of house or whatever it might be, to make sure that the operators can still create that great value proposition for customers?
Oh, technology is critical, and I'm proud to say we've stayed a step ahead. Right. I feel like, for example, we rolled out about 3 to 5 years ago, I can't remember the exact time frame, a new property management system, cloud-based, hotel key, that I could teach you in 10 minutes how to check a guest in on. It's very user-friendly.
To be fair, it'll probably take you about 2 hours.
I was giving you a break there.
Yeah, thank you. Finally, somebody's giving me crap online. I appreciate it.
Somebody's giving Glenn a break here. From a guest perspective, it's efficient. You get checked in quickly. IT marketing platforms, critical today to be, making sure we are as user-friendly for the guest to book rooms with our mobile app, with all of the things that touch the guest before they get to the property. I think we've got some dynamic programs in place to be the best of the best there, but also back of the house. I mean, we've introduced, for example, a maintenance and housekeeping app, which helps from an efficiency standpoint operate back of the house operations.
What are some of the things that it does to create those efficiencies? Probably like so-and-so room checked out.
Room checked out. It communicates with the property management system at the desk. Gives you live information, preventative maintenance issues, being able to take pictures, being able to, all of that is where we need to be today from a labor, as you know, labor staffing is more and more difficult today. More of that we can push to technology, the better we will be, and the less actual capital investment owners will need to make.
Great, and that's I think that's what people want to hear, that you can invest in people and not the infrastructure. Right?
Exactly.
And that's really, I think, a winning formula to create great hospitality experiences that are going to keep guests coming back again and again with no need for a loyalty program.
There you go. Learned something new today.
Excellent. Anything else that I forgot to ask you today, sir?
No, I think, like I said earlier, Glenn, I think it's exciting times for us from a development standpoint. We're rocking and rolling. We've got a lot of neat things going on.
And the good thing is that you're well positioned, even if the industry gets a little bit shaky, even if there is a recession out there. That must make you sleep at night.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're prepared, and I think not only our segment does well, but our brands have proven that they do very well during those downturns, and they maintain their place, and owners still see positive cash flow and the things that are critical during those downturns.
Excellent.
We know it's coming at some point.
Yeah, well, it's always at some point, right?
Cyclical business.
It's just the nature of the universe.
Absolutely.
You know, those developers are going to keep developing.
Yeah,
and it's going to, make it a little bit harder for everyone to keep filling those rooms at the same rate. Plus, we've had so many years and years and years and years of raising prices. It gets harder and harder as time goes on to keep doing that.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see all the different things that this industry is up to in order to make sure that profitability will continue to be strong in the future, including what you were talking about, Mike, which is all about creating those efficiencies on the property level to help lower expenses. Any final thoughts?
No, I think good times are ahead. We've got, under Rob Pleshy's leadership, some great things that have happened with the organization. They're happening with the organization, and we're all excited about the future.
How does that guy stay so positive all the time?
I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet.
It's unbelievable.
I don't know.
I wish I was born with whatever genetic makeup he has.
It's a gift, I guess. But yeah, absolutely.
I'm telling you, one of the happiest guys that I've seen in the hospitality industry is that Rob Pleshy. I've had so much fun talking with you today. Tell us how we could find you if people want to get involved with the company, with G6. How can they reach out to you?
They can certainly reach out. We've got obviously a webpage, a development webpage with our developers' informations on there. They can reach out to me personally. I love talking to new clients, our existing franchisees. I mean, that's what we're a people business, and anybody can just reach out to me, and would love to talk to them and introduce them to our team as well.
Beautiful. Okay. And I want to thank Mike so much for being here, and I want to thank all of you for listening to another show of the No Vacancy Podcast. Of course, if you haven't gotten our weekly newsletter, be sure you text the word hotel to 66866. Yes, it's just that simple. Text the word hotel to 66866. Find us on NoVacancyNews.com, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. I'm Traveling Glenn, and I will be back next week. That is, unless poor Mike has to teach me how to use a PMS. See you guys next time.